And I must tell you, if you...
Hey, folks. So we're here with my longtime friend and congressional candidate, Daniel Burke. He is running for the U.S. Senate in New Jersey, and he's been running quite a while.
Actualized.
Well, Harry Truman is a wild case because, first of all, he wasn't the vice president for most of World War II, right? It was Henry Wallace, who was a progressive figure, former Secretary of Agriculture, the guy who invented food stamps, socialist, very good friend of the Soviet Union. But he was kind of pushed out. The Democratic Party kind of twisted Roosevelt's arm and put Truman in. Truman, former member of the Ku Klux Klan, right? He was briefly a Klansman, and then they told him he couldn't hire Catholics, and so he quit the Klan. But he was okay with them until then, Harry Truman from Missouri, and Truman was just a complete shift. He was from that Dixiecrat southern wing of the Democratic Party that had been fighting Roosevelt and trying to undermine Roosevelt the whole time. And then you remember that very famous photograph of Dewey defeats Truman. Truman's just won the election, and the newspaper is printed wrong, right? Yeah. That's because that election was rigged. It had to have been rigged, right? Because the Democrat vote in 1948 was split three ways, right? So 1948, right? Henry Wallace, Roosevelt's former vice president, ran against Truman. He said this guy is against everything Roosevelt was for. He's against labor unions. He's for the Cold War and all of that. So the Progressive Party is formed, and Henry Wallace splits the Democratic vote to the left, right? So Truman, trying to, get urban African Americans to vote for him, realizing that he's kind of in danger, integrated the U.S. Army and made some statements about civil rights. So then the Southern racists also split from the Democratic Party, and they formed the National States Rights Party. So the Democrat vote in 1948 was split three ways. There is no way that Harry Truman could have won that election, right? The far left were voting against him, the racists were voting against him, and in every urban center, Philadelphia, Chicago, Pittsburgh, New York City, it was rigged. I mean, dead people were voting. It was completely rigged to make sure that Truman got reelected. The Republicans should have won that race, and that's why that newspaper says Dewey defeats Truman, is there's no way he could have won, and that's corruption in American politics.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that very much. I knew some of this, but you gave me a lot more than I had known before. And, let me put it to you from the following view of what might be done, as we're thinking through what we can do at this moment. And, let me put it to you from the following view of what might be done, as we're thinking through what we can do at this moment. The type of corruption that you're talking about, which is at the highest level, is typified by the claims against Russia that have been made since 2016, and they continue to be made. There's a claim that's made today.
Ballots. We got to get the ballots in. Who has sent their ballots in? Now, do you think those ballots are properly counted? Do you think? So when you send them in, do you think they're properly counted? You can check on your ballot to make sure it's counted properly. I know they're all saying, oh, of course, everything is so legitimate, everything is so... Perhaps I'm a more skeptical person, okay? Nobody's upset with that, right? I saw Obama saying the foundations of our country are based on this, but 8 years ago when he was running, he was saying that it was crooked as hell in Chicago, right? Just like he said Obamacare is wonderful. Keep your plan, keep your doctor, right? So you can get a ballot if you need it tomorrow. Slows today, but you can get a ballot tomorrow at University Center, and you can put your ballot in. But so important, we are on the threshold of something so incredible. It's so incredible, so exciting. But you got to get those ballots. So you can go to University Center, and they'll give you a ballot, a new ballot. They'll void your old ballot. They'll give you a new ballot. And you can go out and make sure it gets in. Now, in some places, they probably do that 4 or 5 times, but we don't do that. But that's great. So by tomorrow, hopefully, almost everybody will have their ballots in.
They're rigged, basically. Democrats are saying it's rigged because of voter rolls in the South and suppression of black voters. Republicans say it's rigged because of the mail-in ballots. I think they're both right, actually, to some degree. If you look at it, there's a lot of potential for fraud on both ends here.